Kennedy Spaid joining me, a 3-0 victory over crosstown rival in Handley. Seemed like for the most part, an all-around commanding performance. What stood out in your mind?
We definitely came out with a lot of energy, and I think that helped us. At practice, we worked on some things, and that definitely showed during the game.
And what can you say about Kylee, your teammate, receiving 1,000 career assists tonight, and just that moment, that timeout, and taking the picture? What does that mean to have her get that achievement tonight?
Yeah, she worked her butt off, and I love her so much. I'm very sad to leave her this year, but she's so deserving. I'm very proud of her.
So let me ask you, it seems like after a big rally, this team is locked in and focused, and maybe there's a ball that you expect to go one way, but it doesn't. You're right on top of that. And what I've seen, too, is at the end of it, just like, I know this is probably not the right terminology, but essentially a kill shot that either you or Brenna are on the end of and just smacking across for the point. Just that aspect of it, am I on the right track there? And just getting that opportunity to always get that kill and score that point, what's that like?
I think beach volleyball helps me with that because it's two people on the court in beach, so I feel like hitting with range, and that helps me out there, so that's how I get all my kills.
And just collectively, it just seems like, again, like I mentioned, this team's locked in till from whistle to whistle, start of the set, end of the set. What can you say about that?
Yeah, I feel like we're very locked in because we want to play for each other and win for each other. And we're trying to get to the state championship again, so we're very locked in, and we're practicing, and we're doing our best to team bond and all of it.
I know you probably aren't thinking about it as much, but just a win like this towards the tail end of the season when playoffs come into question and whatnot, what's that like, just the build-up and a win like this and the confidence moving forward?
Yeah, we take it game by game, so we know what team we're playing mostly, and so we watch film, we break it down, and we come out here and execute.
And just overall, just confidence after a win like this must be huge. What's just the message moving forward? I know you're one of the leaders on this team. What's kind of your message, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it definitely makes us more confident to keep winning and striving to be our best. So,
Kennedy Spaid joining me, 3-0 victory over crosstown rival in Handley. Really appreciate your time. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Kylee Plumb joining me after a commanding 3-0 victory over crosstown rival in Handley, achieving 1,000 career assists. First and foremost, starting with that moment, congratulations. And they called timeout. You got to sign a whole team picture. What did that support mean to you?
It was awesome. It's obviously been something I've been working towards since, the beginning, since I made the team. So it's kind of like the overall goal, especially for like a setter. Like that's what you want to do. So, it's been hard the last couple of games. I've had to sit out for an injury, but to finally be back and be able to hit that goal, it's awesome.
Yeah, how did that feel? I know you were out for some time, just getting back into the routine, because I know how competitive this squad is and how much you want to contribute as well, and just being off to the side. I would imagine that's such a hard feeling.
Yeah, it was definitely hard, but it was also a learning experience for me. I've never had to sit out before in my career. It's something new for me. So to sit out, I kind of learned some things off the court too, and how to help my team not only while playing, but also off the court, and contribute those things when I go back to playing on the court.
So, yeah, how did it feel out there tonight? I know you mentioned that you had to sit out, but did everything feel good? Did it feel good to just get back into the swing of things?
Definitely. Once you're playing, kind of don't feel anything. You kind of just lock in, so it was good. But, yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm ready for the rest of the season now.
Just take me on the court. It looked like a bunch of, the long rallies and stuff, and a couple batted balls that don't go the direction you might think. But from what I saw, it just seemed like this team is just staying in the moment, locked in on every play until that whistle blows. And that's paid off for this offensive couple times. What can you say about that aspect of the game that from what you saw?
Right. The last couple of games we've been working on something different. We've been trying to run new things and put people in positions where they might not be comfortable. So just kind of adjusting to be comfortable and when you're uncomfortable. So that's kind of taught us something, and that kind of happened tonight. We switched some things up throughout the games and the matches, and overall I think we did a good job adjusting at the end to come out with the win.
And just seemed like after every rally, not all the time, but for the most part, either Brenna or Kennedy are there with a pretty big kill shot, essentially smacking the ball hard. Yeah, what can you say about those two and just the energy they bring? Because after something like that and you end up getting the point, that's pretty electric.
It is. Those things feed you, and you kind of just, those two on the court, they've been my go-tos since, coming on the court, coming on the team, they've been very welcoming to me. So just being able to continue working with them and grow like our connection and stuff, when you get those kills and stuff, it's very rewarding to see.
Yeah, and I know there are some younger players on the team too also making an impact. Just overall, what do you see collectively that really stood out to you and that you really liked from your team?
Yeah, I mean, we have two freshmen, Macy and Kennedy, and they're doing very well this season. I'm very proud of them both. It's a hard thing to come on here, and there's a lot of pressure on the team. You experience a lot of it from, the on the court and also things off the court. So, but they've done a really good job adjusting to it, and I think overall we're just all coming together very well.
And just a huge victory like this. I know we're getting to the tail end of the season when you got to start looking at playoffs and stuff. I know that's probably not a concern as you take things one day at a time, but how does it feel just playing this good towards the back end of your season to maybe build more momentum getting into the playoffs?
Right. I mean, it's better to have like those losses and some of those struggles in the middle of the season rather than the end. So it was good that we got to deal with some of those things towards the beginning of the season so that now we can work to fix them and then just keep going up from now until the postseason.
3-0, a James Wood victory in volleyball over crosstown rival in Handley. Kylee Plumb receiving her 1,000th career assist honored in the game tonight as well. Congratulations, thank you for your time, and best of luck to you.
Thank you so much.
I'm joined by the head coach and assistant coach of the James Wood volleyball team, Adrienne Patrick, Brandy Corbin, after the big 3-0 victory over crosstown rival Handley. Brandy, start with you. I know you contribute greatly helping Coach Patrick with everything she does for this program, the amount of success they've had, everything. What'd you like out there tonight?
I just really liked the focus, and the girls just knew they needed to get the job done. And so, again, I talk about this all the time about how our program is so strong is only because they rely on each other on and off the court to get the job done. And, again, we try to train our athletes to not just focus on one position that they play, but we try to put them in different scenarios to where it really opens them up to be very diverse on the court.
Outside of the gameplay, Volley for Cure had a very great pregame ceremony for everybody in attendance. What did that mean to put this on? And either of you, if both of you want to answer, but just the importance of something like that for the community in James Wood volleyball.
Well, an event similar to a Volley for a Cure has been happening before we ever took over this program. It used to be Dig Pink, which ran through the Side Out Foundation, so all the proceeds went to the Susan G. Coleman Foundation. And Brandy and I collectively decided a few years ago that we should do more for our local community. So Volley for a Cure is something that we created so that every year we would choose a different recipient, whether it be an organization or a foundation or an individual person that was somehow connected or affiliated with our program. So besides the fact that this is something that we have as a school, and all the schools in our area have some type of pink game, right? So besides the fact that our community is used to this, we are giving back to our specific members of our community or organizations that help kids. For example, Special Love helps families of any type of kid that has pediatric cancer. So it's kids, and it's helping the kids with the cancer or their families with support. So that's something that's important to us because not only are we both mothers, but the team is our child too. So it's just really important that we teach the girls about what service is and service to your community. So this is definitely an event that they look forward to every year.
And I think another great focus and how we are very successful with a lot of things that we do is we are alumni. We both played volleyball here, and we take pride in our community. And how can we give back? And we try to, like you said, try to keep the girls doing some type of service outside of the school, because we not only coach volleyball, but we're trying to teach them a life lesson to be well-rounded.
All right, so starting off the match, it just seemed like all three sets dominant for the most part. Just overall, collectively, what really stood out in your minds?
I think what really stood out is that, again, we talk about this all the time, how much it means to play for each other. And we always use the incidents or the experiences of, it doesn't matter who's on the other side of the court. Our focus is that we have to do our job. People have to play the positions that they should be playing because their teammates are counting on them. And so that's always our focus when we are in practices and even in game situations, is when you do our job on our side, it doesn't matter what happens on the other side. We just show up.
I feel that everything that Coach Corbin said is evidence in our second set, when we had people playing in different positions that aren't, what their statted or official roster position is, and we had even a larger gap or a larger spread in points. The runs that were more points collectively. We had very little subs. We, used just the 6 people mainly that were on the court. We only made 1 sub that entire set, and it was point proving. It was point proving that we have so many options. You know what I mean? You have a middle hitter that is going to play her own back row, or we have an outside hitter that's going to play middle, or we have a right side hitter that's now going to set from the front row and the back row. Like, the depth of our program and what our kids are capable of, it just really spoke.
And I feel like you need to, as a organization, as a team, you have to, in coaching, you have to push kids to the limits of, I always use an example of working up the ladder. You can't be comfortable. You have to push to, and sometimes that makes you uncomfortable playing a position that you're not used to. And they look at us like, okay, we're going to do it no matter what they throw at us.
Was that just trying to make a change, experimenting something, or because I know we've talked about how your players are good players, not just at their positions, but was there a reasoning behind it or anything like that?
Do you mean did we decide to do this today multiple days ago? Yes. So it was planned that we were going to do this. We didn't tell the girls we were going to do this, but we knew the whole time what we were going to do in a challenging match, forcing them to be in an uncomfortable situation to persevere. Yeah. That's what they did.
What do you want them to take away from that lesson and what you brought out onto the court in that scenario from a match like this, and how commanding the victory was?
Well, even in the huddle afterwards, we even brought up the fact of what you're capable of. So sometimes, somebody might put a label on you that you're only this or you can only do that. And what we really showed them is that you're limitless, because you can be in any position and you can do anything. And you can't let anybody tell you that you can't, because you're the only one that can do that.
I agree.
So I noticed there was one specific play, point set. I'm not sure the correct terminology, but it looked like your team was getting ready to celebrate because they thought Handley stopped the ball. But coming right back, and they just dispersed and kept that set going. I can't recall what the result was, but I know that must make you feel good that they realized they celebrated maybe a little bit too soon, but coming back and keeping that point set alive.
No, I would say I know what you're talking about. The thought was that the ball went to the outside. They thought that it was a kill, turned around, preparing, but then it was a late. Handley got the ball up and kept it going. And I feel like the rally continued for a little bit, but I would also agree that I don't quite recall who ended up with the point at the end of that rally. But it speaks to their athleticism. Of course, us as coaches are over there you don't celebrate until the ball, play to the whistle. But it's also good because they're, again, that natural reaction to come, and that's what I feel like the focus should be, is that the natural reaction was to turn and come inward to the court to your team. And so
exactly what they did.
and so that's what we always want to see is everybody coming together after every play. So that just speaks to the communication skills that we're working through meaning like that we're constantly working on, want them to have the commitment to the team.
And the no quit. Just find the ball, make the play happen.
And just in general, your players were like diving on the court, just doing anything to make sure they get that ball and it just doesn't fall on the court. What can you say about the intensity from that aspect?
I can probably speak on that. Like one thing that we've had to overcome are some injuries on our team, and we have really made them do homework outside of being on the court and taking the responsibility of if you don't put the work in, then you're not going to get any better. We talk about that almost in every practice. And so we do a lot of agility drills. We hit the ball pretty hard at them, making them chase the balls down to where it's like, okay, you just proved to us that you can run after that ball. That's what we want to see happen. And so I know we did a lot of preparation on that this week.
I would even say as the sets continued that there were times or positions on the court or specific athletes that either like, man, they hit me on the right side and the ball shanked, or whatever the case is, that as the match went on, that improved. Like they worked harder for that not to happen again. And as a coach, that's all you want is to see growth like that, to see grit, to see heart, that they went back out and they didn't, I'm this or I'm that. They didn't let the error define them. Yeah. You know what I mean? They made
own it. Yeah. You're going to make a mistake, so just own it. Don't let it happen again.
So, speaking of injuries, I learned Kylie's first game back, getting her 1,000th career assist. What was that like? Just pausing the game, giving her that banner. What was that like?
I mean, we seem to be doing that a lot here lately, taking timeouts on our possession, on our serve, which is highly irregular to do that. So I'm glad that we have a team that's well trained and conditioned that we don't take a lot of timeouts. You know what I mean? Coach Corbin and I make them, figure a lot of things out on the court without us. We're yelling the whole time. They're looking at us for play calls and this and all kinds of things. So it's Plumb's, technically it's her second game back because we had a return to play for her. So she played at Manassas Park. So she had, it wasn't her first time back on the court because that would have been a little bit of, high pressure situation after being out for a while. So then, for her to be able to get that accolade, reach that threshold, she's what we would consider maybe the halfway mark in our season because we want to go deep into November. Right. And it's her junior year, so the fact that she's able to do that definitely speaks highly of her caliber as a setter.
And I think, too, with this generation and coaching, you have to give athletes something to work towards. And, we talk about all the time of, like, situations, what did we look forward to the most when we played? And it's small things like that. They're large things in general, but allowing them to have that moment where someone who's maybe a freshman or sophomore saying, I can't wait for that moment to happen for me. Wow, they actually stopped the game. They called out attention to her. It's something to be said for your work that you put into things.
So just with that too, looking offensively still, seems like ball placement. I know we've talked before, Coach, about how your players know exactly where they're spotting the ball. Seems like sometimes they're just spotting the ball softly and it's just landing in a spot Handley's not at. What can you say? What's your evaluation from that aspect of the team's performance?
Yeah, so placing the ball, is something that we work on. And then what the other thing that you were mentioning was just like an off-tempo hit is what you would, call it. And these are all things that we practice. So, seeing them be able to work in a match that's just where you learn is in practice, and in the game is where you perform. So we're glad that in practice we're working on the skills that we want them to perform in the match.
I would have to agree on that. We tell the kids all the time that if it's not your set, you can't swing 100 miles an hour. You have to do something. We call it their toolbox. You have to have something else in your pocket to pull from. And I think with them hearing us say that all the time, they're starting to understand, like, you got to sell it. Hitters, you're going to go up with a really big, massive, look like you're wanting to kill the ball, and then you're going to dink it in the middle. they're also practicing, hey, I've got to call shots. Back row is really super important to be in the ears of our hitters to look and be able to see what's open. And so we do practice that a lot, and I feel like that helps the hitters.
And offensively too, when you're going on a bunch of long runs, seems like I'm not gonna say all the time, but for the most part, either Kennedy or Brenna, I just noticed, are making those hard spikes over the net and leading to points off of that. What can you say about those two and their intensity when it comes to finishing off a pretty long rally?
I would say that they're both definitely intense, and they both definitely like to hit the hard shot, right? They do. But I would also say that, I mean, there's plenty of times that Kennedy's at a hard angle and it's a soft roll over the block. I mean, it happened tonight. Same thing with Brenna being able to swipe more to the 4 position. I don't recall if she did that tonight, but she has done that. She has to work around a big block. But I would also say that we have power punches coming from across the front row. So, I mean, we had Kyla Wilhelm played the second set as an outside hitter, and she was fed the ball, and she can put it down. So if there's not a block there, it's really going to, pound off the floor hard.
Any thoughts there?
No, again, we just really push all of our athletes to not just rely on, our 2 strong outsides who obviously have been playing together since they were 8. They have a strong bond, but they also push their teammates, show up, swing. They're calling, Kyla's on the outside. I hear Brenna back here in the back row saying line, cross. So when you have someone like that in your ear, being very vocal, it makes you want to swing harder, because you have someone on your side. And that confidence helps.
And just a game like this, I know we're towards the end of the regular season, and I know you and your players really don't like looking ahead, but just the confidence going in after a win like this and just moving forward to the rest of the regular season and hopefully push into the playoffs, which you alluded to. Just what's that confidence like after a big win like this?
So I feel that after a win like this, it does impact our team's confidence and the individual athletes' confidence, right? Because we played them and went to 5 sets the last time, and we were able to sweep them this time. So that adds to the confidence, right? But, I mean, to be completely honest, we have to think one game at a time because the rest of our season is hard. We play Millbrook on Tuesday and Kettle Run on Thursday, and they're both tough teams. So it can't be like, let's get a hotel room in Richmond. No one's thinking that because that is not how our process works, and that's not what we've done the past 3 times. So it does. So as far as like an individual's confidence going into the next match, because hey, look what we did, we can do it. I would also say that's our 3rd time playing Handley, and beating a team 3 times is hard because we played Handley in our tournament that we hosted here, then we played them at Handley, and then here again, right? So it's just a fact. Playing a team 3 times and then beating them 3 times is hard because they know who we are, right? They've played us. They've watched film. So does it add to our confidence? Yes. But does it? Do we now have binoculars and seeing way into the future? No. So.
In the next week.
Yeah.
They're going to rest tomorrow. Yeah. They're going to do what they need to do for their bodies.
All we're thinking about is Millbrook.
Exactly.
Yeah, because that's Tuesday.
And I'm going a little bit way back here, but that big tournament you hosted, I believe you went down to Virginia Beach, that added to the amount of wins you've gotten in terms of other opponents. Do you think that benefits when it comes to later on in the season with how many more games you've played, more experience within the course of this regular season?
I feel that the reason why we do things like that is because the caliber of team that we get to see. And that is the reason why it benefits us. Because if we've gone, like, for example, at Virginia Beach, we went 3 sets with Georgetown Day, like a team that, or Flint Hill that has, the last time we were in Virginia Beach, like spanked us. Like, do you know what I mean? So the fact that we're playing these high caliber teams, that is what does prepare us for the postseason, that we've already seen an athlete that does this, or we've seen a left-handed hitter do this, or those types of things, because not all the time will you see that much range, I'll say it, in your regular season. So that's how it prepares us. Sometimes it could be a deficit because the way that the region runs, it's off of total win percentage of regular season matches. So we will only have 16, and other people will have, like, for example, 18 or 20. So a loss for us cuts harder, hurts more, percentage goes down faster. So that's just a little, the math behind how things get organized in the postseason. But again, it's the quality and the caliber of team, and that's why we do that.
Last but not least, it just seems like your players on the court were playing very relaxed. Did you see that? And how huge was that? They were just playing relaxed, and the high level of gameplay they produced to come out with this victory.
You got to talk to Coach Corbin on the relaxed, because she says something all the time about what they're doing out there, and that's what they did. Because she always says,
What do I always say?
we're just playing volleyball.
That is true.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we always use an example, and half the time we're making up the other teams. We said the other day in practice, this is Missouri on the other side, and we don't know what they can do, and it doesn't really matter what they can do. But we know what we can do, and when we play together and for each other, I think I even said tonight, even to JV and varsity, I said, you have to remember what this game means. And it's really not about us. It's about our community and what we're fighting for. And we are very passionate, teaching in this community, coaching in it. So we really take it to heart about, you're not just playing for yourself and each other. You're playing for everyone who comes every time to our games, and they pack these stands and show up all the time. And so it really means a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It was definitely a great match as the James Wood Colonels in volleyball sweep John Handley 3-0. Not one, but two coaches joining us on the post-game show, Coach Adrienne Patrick and Assistant Coach Brandy Corbin. Certainly appreciate the time from both of you, and best of luck to you down the line.
Thank you so much.